Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today's Friday, October 12th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap last night's Thursday night game between the Eagles and the Giants. Go over yesterday's two college football games. Talk about the Jimmy Butler situation a little bit. And then I'll rip through my picks for the weekend. Got to be quick here. Alright. Last night, dominant win for the Eagles. 34-13. They're looking like the champs again. They're 3-3. The Giants are 1-5. But you can make a case this was all, and I mean all, bad Giants rather than good Eagles. I think the next couple weeks are going to be a good indicator for Philly. But if Philly goes on a run and wins 11 games, this could have been the start of it. Carson Wentz 26 of 36, 278 yards, 3 touchdowns. Eli Manning had a terrible game. 24 of 43, 281 yards and an interception. This was probably the Giants' worst loss of the year, and that's saying something because they've been bad all year. College. Texas Tech upset TCU 17-14. Low-scoring game for a Big 12 game. Tech is 4-2. TCU's 4-3. Georgia Southern defeats Texas State 15-13. Very low-scoring game. Georgia Southern's 5-1. Texas State is 1-5, so Georgia Southern barely avoids the trap. 3 games tonight on the slate that I'll pick in a couple minutes. Jimmy Butler. All this turmoil going on with the Timberwolves. They had to cancel practice yesterday. And then the day before, he was challenging his teammates in practice, and then he called the players only meeting. This is a mess. I think Butler's get a lot to get traded during the season. I'd be shocked if he finished the season with the Timberwolves. And with or without Butler, this is not a playoff team. This is a team headed for a disaster this year. Butler in the contract year, there's already distractions. I think they should absolutely trade him. And I think they will trade him. Just depends on the package and who steps up their offer. Picks, I want to start with college football. Week 7. Tonight, you have number 23 South Florida at Tulsa, 7 o'clock on ESPN. The Golden Hurricane hung around with Houston last week, and I think they can hang around with the Bulls a little bit, but the Bulls will still win the game. So give me South Florida straight up. The over-under 61.5. The number ATS is 7. Hard call, but give me the over 61.5 for the play. Air Force at San Diego State, 9 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. The straight-up pick is San Diego State. The over-under is 44. San Diego State's laying 10.5. I'm going to lay the 10.5. Arizona at Utah. My straight-up pick is Utah. They're laying 13.5. The over-under is 51.5, but I'm taking Arizona to cover the 13.5. I just think that's too high. And I wouldn't be shocked if Utah had a little bit of a letdown here. The Saturday games. Minnesota at number 3, Ohio State. 12 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. The straight-up pick is Ohio State. They're laying 29.5. The over-under is 59.5. The best play here is over 59.5. That's one of my best bets of the week, by the way, the over 59.5 in the Minnesota-Ohio State game. 12 o'clock ESPN, number 14, Florida at Vanderbilt. I like Florida to win this game straight up. They're laying 7 points. The over-under is 50.5. It went down. Tough call. But I'm going to say under 50.5 is the play. Tennessee at number 21, Auburn, 12 o'clock on SEC Network. Auburn's the straight-up pick. They're laying 15.5. The over-under is 45.5. Best bet is laying the 15.5. Tennessee's just terrible. They should not be getting 15, or sorry, like around 15 or less to anybody. They're terrible. Rutgers at Maryland, 12 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. Maryland is the pick straight up. Maryland is laying 24. The over-under is 52. I'm going to take over 52 as my play here. Iowa at Indiana, 12 o'clock on ESPN2. My straight up pick here. You know what? I'm going to take the upset Indiana. They're getting 5.5. I'm taking that too. The over-under is 53. I would think it's a trap game for Iowa. Nebraska at Northwestern, 12 o'clock on ABC. Northwestern looking to build on that win. Nebraska trying to get their first win. Northwestern's laying 4.5. The over-under is 59.5. I'm taking Northwestern to win, and I think they'll cover too. Oklahoma State at Kansas State, 12 o'clock ESPNU. Oklahoma State is laying 7. The over-under is 62. I'm fearing a push, so I'm going to take over 62. And obviously the Cowboys, I expect to win straight up. Akron at Buffalo, 12 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. My pick here is Buffalo. They are laying 11.5. The over-under is 53.5. The best bet here is over 53.5. Toledo at Eastern Michigan, 12 o'clock on ESPN+. Toledo is my straight-up pick here. They are laying 2.5. I think they'll cover that. The over-under 64. Duke at Georgia Tech, 12 o'clock on the ACC network. I'm taking Duke to pull off the upset. They're getting 2.5, and I'm getting those points too. The over-under is 55. Louisville at Boston College, 12 o'clock on the ACC network. BC's laying 13.5. The over-under is 61. Boston College is winning this game straight up, and they're going to blow out Louisville. Louisville looks like a team that quit. I think 13.5 is another best bet of the week for Boston College. UAB at Rice, 1 o'clock on ESPN. Plus, one okay team and one really bad team in this game. UAB is giving 16.5. The over-under is 52.5. I like UAB straight up, but the play here is over 52.5. Troy at Liberty, 2 o'clock on ESPN3. Tricky spot here for Troy. Will they avoid the trap? They are giving 9.5 points. The over-under 63.5. I think Troy wins straight up, but Liberty covers the 9.5. Southern Miss in North Texas, 2 o'clock on ESPN3. I am taking the Mean Green to win this game. They are laying 9.5 points. The over-under is 55. I'm going to swallow the 9.5 with North Texas and hold my breath and hope that Southern Miss doesn't cover. Pitt at number 5, Notre Dame, 2:30 on NBC. Could be a look-ahead spot for Notre Dame. I still think they win the game straight up. The number is 21. I think that's a little bit of a tricky number. It could push. So the play here is over 54. Kent State at Miami of Ohio, 2:30 on ESPN+. Miami of Ohio is laying 11. The over-under is 59.5. Giving Miami of Ohio straight up and Give me the 11.5 too. Western Michigan at Bowling Green, 3 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Western Michigan's minus 14.5. The over under 70. Give me Western Michigan, and I do think they'll cover that big number. Ball State at Central Michigan, 3 o'clock on ESPN 3. Central Michigan is actually the team that's favored in this game. They are laying, I believe the number is 2. But I think Ball State pulls off the upset. They're just playing better right now. Central Michigan's the worst offensive team, perhaps in the country. Although you could argue UTEP or whoever like that. San Jose State even, but give me Ball State straight up. I don't even need the points, but whatever the point spread is, give me the plus with Ball State. They're winning this game outright. Number 2, Georgia. Number 13, LSU. 3:30 CBS. Game of the week. Winner gets to control their destiny and possibly to the college football playoff. There's a difference between Death Valley during the day and Death Valley at night, and I think the Bulldogs get the win on the road because of that fact, and I think their defense can stop Joe Burrow and that offense. So the pick here is Georgia. They're laying 7.5. The over-under is 50.5. I'm going to take LSU to cover the 7.5, but Georgia wins, obviously. Number 7, Washington at number 17, Oregon, 3:30 on ABC. Huge game in Eugene. Game day implications because if Oregon wins, they can go to Pullman next week for the first time ever. Perhaps the 2 best teams in the conference led by their quarterbacks in Jake Browning and Justin Herbert. The difference in this game is the Huskies' defense, which has talent everywhere, and they'll get the big win on the road. So the pick here is Washington. I think that the 3.5 is a tricky number, so I'm going to take over 57.5. I still think Washington can win a 3-point game, so over 57.5 is the play. Michigan State at number 8, Penn State, 3:30 on Fox. Another interesting game. The Spartans are a wild card. It's either they will get blown out or pull off a major upset. I think the latter. Penn State wins. They'll cover the big number. It's 13.5. The over-under is 53. Baylor at number 9, Texas, 3:30 on ESPN. Letdown spot for the Longhorns, not so fast. Give me Texas here. They're laying 14, but the play here is over 60.5. Number 10, UCF at Memphis, 3:30 ESPN2. Huge spot for both teams. The Knights have been great, but this is a classic upset spot. Tigers win. Give me the points. Heck, I don't need them. They're getting 4.5. Memphis wins outright. Over under 81. Number 22, Texas A&M at South Carolina. 3:30 on the SEC Network. Same thing. Forget the points. Give me South Carolina in the upset. The over under in this game is 52. Ohio at Northern Illinois, 3:30 ESPN Plus. Northern Illinois is laying 4. I think Northern Illinois wins and covers. The over-under is 51.5. Temple at Navy, 3:30 CBS Sports Network. Again, screw the points. Navy's winning outright. They're getting 7. The over-under is 49.5. Western Kentucky at Charlotte, 3:30 ESPN Plus. This is a tricky one for Western. They're laying 7.5. I think Western wins straight up, but I like Charlotte to cover the number. The over-under is 43.5. Marshall at Old Dominion, 3:30. Marshall's giving 3.5. The over-under is 59.5. I think Marshall wins and covers. Army at San Jose State from San Francisco, 3:30 on ESPNU. Army is laying 14.5. I think this game Oh, I'm sorry, it's actually 15 now. I think they'll win this game easily. The over-under is 50.5. And I like the 15, so give me the 15 with Army. Purdue and Illinois, 3:30 Big Ten Network. Purdue is the pick here straight up. But I like Illinois to cover the 10.5 here. Just because they're home and they've hung around with people this year. The over-under 62. New Mexico at Colorado State, 4 o'clock. Screw the points. New Mexico's winning this game outright. I believe this is now a pick'em. It was actually, yeah, it is a pick'em. I'm taking New Mexico in the pick'em. The over-under 65.5. UNLV at Utah State, 4 o'clock. Utah State's laying 27. The over-under 64. Tough call, but the pick here, I'm taking Utah State straight up, but I'm going to take the over 64. Alabama State at South Alabama. South Alabama's the pick, because that's an FCS going to Alabama State. New Mexico State at Louisiana, 5 o'clock on ESPN+. Louisiana, they won last week. I think they get another win here. But I think New Mexico State covers the 7.5, the over under 68.5. UL Monroe at Coastal Carolina, 6 o'clock on ESPN+. This is a tricky spot for Coastal. I think they'll get the win. The question is, do they cover the 7? I'm not sure. That could be a push, but I'm going to take the over 66.5 as the play. Missouri at number 1 Alabama, 7 o'clock ESPN. Expect a ton of points in this one for sure. Alabama's going to win. The over-under is 74. Bama's laying 28. The bet here is over 74. That's one of my better bets of the week. Number 6, West Virginia at Iowa State, 7 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Tricky spot for the Mountaineers against the team in the Cyclones that's better than the record indicates. I think Will Grier finds a way again, so give me West Virginia on the road. I don't feel good about it. But that said, I'm taking the Cyclones plus the 6.5, but the Mountaineers find the way to win. The over-under is 56. Number 16, Miami at Virginia, 7 o'clock ESPN 2. Tricky spot for the Canes as they go to Charlottesville. I say the Canes survive too. I wrote down Virginia as my pick on my blog online, but I meant to type in Miami. But same thing, I think Virginia covers the 6.5. The over-under is 47.5, but like I said, I'm taking Miami to win straight up, but them to cover the 6.5. Houston and East Carolina, 7 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. Houston's the pick straight up, but I think East Carolina covers the 16, the over-under 69.5. Virginia Tech and North Carolina, 7 o'clock on ESPNU. I like Virginia Tech in this spot, even though this feels like a trap spot for them. I'm going to regret taking Virginia Tech, and I'm going to regret taking the minus. I believe the number's 5 went up to 6. I think they covered the 6, the over-under 57.5. Louisiana Tech and UTSA, 7 o'clock on ESPN+. I think Louisiana Tech wins this game, and I think they'll win comfortably. They're laying 11. I think they'll cover that. UTSA is over-under. The game there is 44.5. UCLA at Cal, 7 o'clock on the Pac-12 Network. A lot of people feel that this is going to be UCLA's first win. To me, not so fast. I think they'll hang around a little bit. Cal's laying 7. The over-under is 53. I think Cal wins, but the pick here is over 53. Number 15, Wisconsin. At number 12, Michigan, 7:30 ABC. Huge game in Ann Arbor. Game day on hand. The winner's still alive in college football playoff conversation. Wolverines are the pick here. I think they win a close one. So give me Michigan, but Wisconsin is going to cover the big number, and I think it went all the way up to 9.5, and that to me is very, very, very ridiculous. And as improved Michigan is from week 1, I just don't see Paul Chryst and company laying back in this one and losing by double digits. So give me Wisconsin plus the 9.5, but for Michigan to win the game. The over-under's 49, although the over's enticing too. Ole Miss at Arkansas, 7:30 on SEC Network. I wrote Arkansas on my pick, but I meant to put Ole Miss. I think Arkansas covers the 7, though. Or, I'm sorry, the 6.5. It just went down a half point. The over-under 67. So Arkansas covers, Ole Miss wins. Middle Tennessee at FIU, 7:30. Screw the points. I think Middle wins this game outright. Middle is getting 3. The over-under is 56.5. Hawaii at BYU, 10:15 on ESPN2. BYU is the pick here. They're laying 11. The over-under is 56.5. I'm going to take Hawaii to cover the 11. I don't feel great about it. Number 19, Colorado at USC, 10:30 on FS1. The Buffaloes have a better chance here than people think to seal this game, but I'm giving the edge to Clay Helton's team at home. So give me the Trojans here. They're laying 7. The over-under is 57. The pick here is going to be over. I think both teams get the 30. Wyoming at Fresno State, 10:30 on ESPNU. Fresno State's the pick here. The over-under is 43. I think they'll cover the 18. Boise State at Nevada is the last game on the board. I'm taking Boise to win straight up. The number's tricky at 16.5. The over-under is 61. I'm going to take... I like Boise State to cover the 16.5. I don't feel good about it at all. NFL. I'm going to do this very quickly. Going to rip through the picks here. 1 o'clock, Chargers, Cleveland. Chargers are coming off a win over the Raiders at home. Cleveland's coming off the overtime win over the the Ravens. I think Cleveland wins this game outright. They're getting a point. The over-under is 45. So I'm going to say the Browns win this game by a score of 24-20 Browns. Chicago at Miami. Chicago's coming off their bye the week before. They had that dominant win over the Bucs. Miami is coming off the brutal loss in which they blew a lead to the Bengals. I like the Bears here, 26-16. So that covers the 3.5. But 41.5 is the over-under. I like that better. Actually, though, that would be the over. But no, I'm going to do the 3.5. Never mind. I thought that I'd get the under the score I wrote down. But never mind. I'm going to take the 3.5 and hold my nose. Carolina at Washington, 1 o'clock on Fox. Carolina coming off the overtime win over the Giants. Or not an overtime win, but a game-winning field goal win over the Giants. Washington coming off the disastrous Monday night loss in New Orleans against the Saints. I like the Redskins here to win the game. They're a 1-point favorite. So I'm going to take the Redskins here, 27-24. Colts at the Jets, 1 o'clock on CBS. The Colts are coming off the Thursday night loss in New England. Bad loss with a bunch of injuries. Jets coming off the nice home win over the Broncos. Will the Jets do it again? Yes, they will. I think the Jets win this game by a score of 26-20. I think this game will be close. Andrew Luck's going to keep the Colts in this game. So the play here is the -2.5. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. 1 o'clock on CBS. I expect this to be the Jim Nantz Tony Romo game. Pittsburgh coming off the huge, much-needed win over the Falcons. Cincinnati coming off the big home win over the Dolphins. I think the Bengals win the game. They're -2. But the play here is over 52.5. I'm going to say Cincinnati wins this game 33-30. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. 1 o'clock on Fox. 3's a tricky number. I think the Bucks pull off the upset here. I'm going to say they win 30-27. That will exactly hit the 57 mark here. So 30-27 Tampa Bay. Just give me the 3 points right now. Seattle, Oakland from London on Fox. Seattle coming off the close loss against the Rams. Oakland coming off the bad loss in LA. I think the Raiders pull off the upset hangover game for Seattle. Give me the Raiders 24-20. But the play here is the +2.5. I'd sprinkle a little on the money line too. Buffalo at Houston, 1 o'clock on CBS. Watson's probable. I can't really do the descriptions for the blog now. Not on much time, so give me Houston to win the game by a score of 26-13. The over-under is 41, but the play here is the under. Rams at the Broncos. I think this is another tricky spot for the Rams. I think they get away with the win here. Let's say by a score of 32-26. The over-under is 52. I have this game exactly at 52 points. So the play here is the +7 with the Broncos. Jacksonville at Dallas. Actually, no, this is the Jim Nantz Tony Romo special. The Steeler-Bengal game will probably be Iron Eagle. This is going to be the most disgusting game of the week other than the Giant Eagle game, except there's going to be less points from the road team with a worse quarterback. I like the Jaguars to win, but I think it's a 3-point game. I think the Jaguars win 20-17. So the play here is under 40.5. Baltimore at Tennessee, 4:25 on CBS. I think the Ravens get the win here by a score of 24-17. So they'll cover the 2.5 with some ease. Kansas City at New England, it's the game of the week. Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya on the call. It's been a nice run for Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes finally loses a game. Will it be close? I think New England wins this game going away 37-26. And I think there'll be a couple garbage time TDs for Kansas City in there. So I love the over, and I also love the 3.5. But the 3.5 is the more important number. I think the Patriots cover that easily. San Francisco at Green Bay. 8:15 ESPN Monday Night Football. Let's just get it out of the way. Green Bay's winning this game, and I think it's by a score of 27-13. It's my lock of the week. The 49ers are terrible without Jimmy Garoppolo. They'll cover the 9.5 easily. The over-under is 46.5. That's it for the picks. I'll be back tomorrow recapping tonight's college football games. Oh, I have to do the ALCS pick and the NLCS pick real quick. I forgot all about that. Astros, Red Sox, best two teams. Astros, we've looked like the best team so far. I think they win in 5 games. The NLCS, Dodgers, Brewers. Brewers has home field. But are they really better than the Dodgers? No, they're not. Dodgers have the better rotation. Brewers have the better pen, though. Josh Hader can single-handedly swing the series in the favor of the Brewers. But give me the Dodgers in 6. And as for the game tonight, I think the Dodgers win game 1. So now that's officially it for the podcast. I'll go over Game 1 of Dodgers Brewers, as well as college football. And I believe tomorrow I'll be doing my NBA Power Rankings as well. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.